back. Hey, it's the Frustrated Rockstars. He's Jeff, I'm Justin, with another episode. I guess we're about turning 40 now.
Close to our 40s.
Close to 40, our hairline's coming back, and we're getting a little around the middle, but I think we're no worse for the wear. And we're glad to be here. We got a few folks in the audience.
Yes.
What? Huh? What? Huh? How about those Buffalo Bills? All right.
We're live on MP4 from the On the Rocks Tavern in Sandy Springs, Georgia. Thank you so much for joining us. It's Talk and Roll.
Having an adult beverage and talking about rock and roll.
That's all we do.
That's
come
it.
on and enjoy us.
No big whoop.
Enjoy music.
You don't need a user manual.
No.
There's no rules.
There's no wrong answers.
There's no wrong answers.
So,
say
what you want.
Sure. We do.
So tonight we're doing something kind of technical, but everyone knows it.
Put on your thinking caps. Yeah. I've got mine.
It's the use of the vocoder.
Yeah, the vocoder.
Okay.
That's correct. Not the recorder that you got in 6th grade. Yeah. Remember when everybody has to play the recorder for a couple of weeks?
But the main example of this is the Cher song, that I Believe song.
I believe in love after love.
Where
and that part, she's like,
where her voice turns into a keyboard, it sounds
like. Kid Rock used it, and only God knows why. It's actually been used a lot in history. Like throughout the 60s and 70s, they used it.
When it first came out, it was they figured out a way, to make your voice be processed through something else, which started in the 70s, and it's like an effect.
Yeah,
like your guitar pedals got your distortion and your phase.
But nowadays, you hear it everywhere. Yeah. Every single rap song, all the teeny bopper pop songs, they all have it. I saw Lil Wayne on SNL. The Saturday Night Live premiere was Lil Wayne and Michael Phelps, the swimmer.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was just plain old singing
the whole thing with his diamond teeth.
Right. Well,
I'm not that familiar with Lil Wayne, but I did see him on SNL, and he was singing through the vocoder. Is that like his whole sound?
I'm not familiar either. I've watched a few YouTube things. I saw him on the VMAs, and I saw him on Saturday. But I look forward. I was like, okay, let's see what all the fuss is about. This guy's the biggest star in the world right now, and he was singing through a vocoder. And supposedly the cool thing about him is that he can change his voice and do all these different inflections.
No, but he's not doing it.
He's not doing it.
The computer is.
I'm totally against this. Okay. I think it's when you can't hit a note, you use this, so it sounds cool to cover up the fact that you can't sing.
Okay, now.
If you compress the vocals and then use the vocoder at the end for the high notes, I mean, any of us could have an album.
Yes. Now, that is true, but I think you're confusing the vocoder with Pro Tools. Is also something called auto-tune.
Right.
I think the vocoder is not the villain here, because the vocoder's been used in some great songs since it came out in the 70s.
Name some.
Electric Light Orchestra used it. Mr. Blue Sky. Think about Mr. Roboto.
Yeah.
They're singing like a robot. Well, that's going through a vocoder. Okay, because they're actually singing.
But I mean, they're trying to sound like a computer.
Well,
yeah, that's fine.
Right, but
they're not using it to cover the fact they can't hit a C sharp.
That's the thing. Nowadays, it's being used in conjunction with Pro Tools and all this other whatever equipment to make it sound like you're singing on key and you can sing.
Right.
And that's the downfall. So I say it's a good thing, the vocoder, a good effect, just like a distortion or a phase effect or any effect.
It's like a very strong spice. You got to pepper it in.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't use it all the time.
Yeah,
because it'll overpower the meal.
Right, and then what happens when you go out and sing live?
Right,
without it.
Well, that's what happened to Ashley Simpson. Ashley Simpson was all Pro Tools and vocoders and all that, and then when she had to sing live, she sounded like somebody at a boat show.
Right, that's the thing. But she
she did. It was dreadful.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So I say, don't blame the vocoder. It's all this other new...
guns don't kill people.
Yeah.
People using guns to kill people.
Right, that's what it is. It's the other technology that's being abused, because now anybody can sing.
I'm sick of it now. I hear it in every rap song.
Well, it's getting overplayed. And I think that's kind of a trend with all kinds of sounds that kind of...
Bring back the theremin, that's what I say.
Yeah.
Look it up.
But I don't understand rappers using it.
Because they can't sing.
Well, I know.
Why are rappers trying to sing anyway? When did that
Right. Yeah, rappers should not sing.
Sound like this.
I want my R&B and my rap.
Keep the chocolate out of my peanut butter. Yeah, I totally agree.
I'm sure record producers love all this stuff because they can make anyone sound good.
Right, sure. Get the right face. Yeah. Hillary Duff, Lindsay Lohan. Let's go with the noise.
All right, so there's an ABBA museum that's going to be opening up in Sweden.
Right. Well, they're a Swedish band.
They're a Swedish
That makes
band.
sense.
It's their home.
If it
it's
opened
their
in Mexico,
hometown.
that'd be crazy.
So apparently it's being delayed. It was going to open next.
Well, yeah, it's being
summer, but
delayed. It's construction issues. It's
Right.
not funding.
Okay.
It's going to open. It's going to be an ABBA museum. People don't understand how big ABBA is.
Yeah.
ABBA still sells 3 million records a year. You know
Really?
that? 3 million records a year.
Wow.
ABBA still sells.
So sign it or drop it. Should there be a museum ABBA museum or not?
Absolutely, sign it.
I say sign it too.
all the way.
Sign it too.
Absolutely, it'd be fun. What else are you gonna do? You're gonna go skiing? You can't ski for 10 days.
Well, here's the
Stop
thing.
by the ABBA museum.
It's like, at one point when they were at their height, they were Sweden's biggest export over Volvo.
Really?
They were
I
outselling
can believe
cars in the late 70s.
I wish we had an Aerosmith museum in Boston. I wish we had an REM museum in Athens.
Right, but that's the thing. You couldn't do that here because there's so many bands. Like that's the only Swedish band
Right.
that is so huge.
And they're huge.
So they could do it. But yeah, like you couldn't have an English one with like a Beatles one, a Stones one, a Led Zeppelin
Why
one.
not?
Hey, I say you could, but who's
say-
going to fund it? You gonna go there every other year and
I'm just saying.
I definitely say it needs to be privately funded.
Yeah, that's what
we don't want to get politics.
We're gonna build a stadium.
We don't want to get political here, but it should not be publicly funded. But I say, hey, if there's a market to support an ABBA museum, yes.
And the
do it.
members of the band are behind it. They support it, and they
really?
and they actually contributed their own memorabilia, like their own personal stuff for the museum. Okay. So if they're into it, I'm into it. If I'm in Sweden, I'll pop in.
Yeah.
I got $5. I got €5.
You know what's amazing is they turned down $1 billion to do 100 shows in 2000. Now, to reunite and do 100 shows, that's $10 million a night.
Yep.
They turned it down.
I remember that.
Okay? If you can turn down $1 billion, you get a museum. Bottom line.
So anyway, comments about this or any other museums, just send them to us. The Frustrated Rockstars. We're at thefrustratedrockstars.com. We're on YouTube. You can subscribe to us. Check us out. Our parents are huge fans.
And you may hear yourself on Comment.
Sure.
Here we go. Mindcrime68 posted something on YouTube.
I wonder if that's
here.
a Queensryche.
Operation Mindcrime. Hey, I would assume so, because he's a Frustrated Rockstar fan.
I love Operation Mindcrime.
I think this is one of my favorite comments of all time.
Ooh, let me sit back.
And of course, we talked about Michael Anthony from Van Halen on the one for the bass players.
Sure, of course.
He says, Van Halen has pissed me off. How can they be Van Halen without Anthony? That's right, they're not reunion my ass.
Absolutely.
And of course, we did a whole show on this.
I mean, there's nothing else to add. Just watch one of our first podcasts.
The first.
The first podcast.
It's on
Michael
YouTube.
Anthony.
Yeah, so the Van Halen reunion tour, is it still going? They finished it up? It seemed to have fizzled out. Haven't heard much about it.
It's the Van Halen Ruin Tour.
It's the Van Halen Ruin Tour.
Yeah, we don't call it reunion, we call it ruin.
Because they have.
Yeah, I haven't heard a thing. I think, did their shows.
It's fizzled out, and I just say,
It got mixed reviews, too. And this is from Van Halen fans. A lot of people were like, it just doesn't. Listen, we went all into this in the podcast, but you can't replace Michael Anthony's harmonies.
And just the fact that we waited all this time for David Lee Roth to come back,
right?
And we still don't have the original Van Halen because they have Wolfgang Van Halen, Eddie's son.
No matter how good, it's not about the notes.
Yeah.
It's about him being there.
Michael Anthony can drink all the Jack he wants, show up drunk, and just F up. I don't care.
Right.
I want him there.
Right. He's part of the show. Ringo Starr was not an important Beatle, but tell me you want to see the Beatles without Ringo Starr.
Right. I don't care if
He's
it's
part of the show.
I don't care if it's the Beatles with Neil Peart from Rush.
I want Ringo there.
I want Ringo.
And he's not, who's Ringo?
So I was just glad to know that there are other people out there that don't like this new Van Halen.
That's good. Good for you. And keep your comments coming. We love them. We read every single darn one of them. We'd respond to them all if we could. But we get to them when we can. Just keep them coming. We love it. We love you guys. And I guess we'll see you next time.
Yeah, in the meantime, enjoy your music.
Enjoy your music.
Catch you next time live on MP4. I got to play program director. We got to
get the call. You got to do it like Imus does it. WNBC.